friends, if I stay there, is that, oh no, you will not see me. I'm sorry, I will have to stay here. Okay, how was the session? Can you please raise your hand if you're happy? Oh, they're happy. Can you please clap your hands if you're happy? You're sure you're not lying to me, hey? Okay, is the session on universalizing development effectiveness agenda here? Can you please clap your hands? Okay, I'm pretty sure you're all tired. What about enabling environment? Okay, they have been disabled. I don't know where they are. And youth empowerment. Okay. It's either you're tired, you haven't eaten, or you're gravely disappointed with the conversation. And hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, I would like to call on the rapporteurs from the Universalizing Development Effectiveness Agenda to come on stage here with me, as well as the rapporteur for youth empowerment. Who's the rapporteur for youth empowerment? Okay, you are Mr. Moses. Okay, Moses Nyama. And then where is our, you're with youth empowerment, no? And then who's the universalizing development effectiveness? You are? Okay, Manasa, you have to come here. You have to come here. Come on, don't be shy. So I think we should start. We're running out of time, but definitely we will be allotting a lot of time later for engagement and interaction. We will open the floor for your input and your intervention. Is that okay with everybody? Do we have enough energy? Okay, at least I heard yes. So let's start with Moses.
Thank you. Moses Wanyama, the National Youth Council Chair, Bungoma County, from Kenya. We were handling the youth empowerment in 3 dimensions. That is economically, socially, and politically. By definition, empowerment means the youth being able to take care of their resources, of the state, and within the environment, and by ensuring that whatever the resources are also improved upon through innovations. Somebody else also said is a process through which the government provides conducive environment that enhances youth activities to take place. Point number 1, under economic empowerment, that we should have equipped vocational training institutions to impact youth with skills globally and therefore have improved infrastructure, solving housing problems, food security, and environmental conservation. Point number 2, provide initial startup capital. That it is a major challenge for the youth globally when they want to start some business. So appealing to the global partners to ensure that at the initial stage, the youth are helped and assisted, especially those ones at the rural level. But 3, the state parties should help the youth to access information. This is just but one of the examples of HLM2 meeting that most of the youth say in Africa, they should be aware of this particular meeting taking place, that it is because of them. So information is key to have economic empowerment. Next, that we should have exchange programs, that is locally and internationally. You realize that most youths with some skills could be doing well here at home, but because of green pasture outside there, they go and they never come back. So we are saying the exchange programs will ensure the platform for the youth to be able to be in Nigeria, be in Singapore, provide the services, and ensure that wherever the countries they have come from, they still benefit. Next point is on partnerships. The youth have declared also that at the end of this session, by Thursday, that we should have global partnerships with state parties. This will ensure that the youth doing business, could be in the manufacturing sector or wherever, or providing services, they should be able to sign up treaties that will enable them to be outside there to do the best they can. Next, on economic, help the youth access procurement opportunities at international level. The procurement opportunities, you realize in Kenya we have what we call 30%. But we would also want the state parties at that global level to ensure that we have a certain percentage. If say we have 30 in Kenya, what is it in the other countries? So that the youth are guaranteed to do procurement. And you know it's procurement that we have a lot of money circulating, and this will help the youth a lot. Also, have international legislations in all the governments. If it is African states, if it is in the US, if it is in Australia, Mexico, we are saying we should have proper legislation. The legislation will ensure that the youth have a place when it comes to their representation and inclusivity. That one will also go in line with the state appointments so that we have the youth fully represented. Next point is on social. Socially, you realize that we would want to have the state parties to ensure that we have implementation of the policies that are set in place. The example is of this meeting. At the end of this forum, we would want the implementation of this forum. What the declarations would be, we would want them to be implemented so that at the next level, we are seeing some changes, and of course, this one will ensure the youth gets to know a few other things also coming on board. Also ensuring that the governments who are doing youth policies, they should ensure they implement them, not at paperwork. Point number 2, flex stringent measures that hamper the youth from accessing the partners. You realize that the youth may be willing to partner with some organizations, could be NGOs, but the measures given do not give them the opportunity to really come out. So the stringent measures should be reduced by our governments. We also propose to have regular monitoring and evaluation by state parties. The M&A will ensure that those involved in trade, say in the procurement sector, the youth themselves should also be involved in doing M&A, monitoring and evaluation. Next point under social is create and equip recreation centers. Create and equip recreation centers. That one will go in line with nurturing and developing youth talents across board. Next, have sporting activities with the state partners. Though with sports, it depends the way you want to discuss it, because most of the youth are involved in sports, but we also want the sporting activities be improved at that global level to ensure that the youth are well represented. There are these issues that were completed in Brazil, whereby you realize there were some challenges concerning the people who are involved in the sporting activity. So we would want to have effective management when it comes to sporting activities. Last point on that, to have effective participation, representation, and participation of the youth across board. That could be in government parastatals, it could be in private sectors, and a learning institution. So we would want to have the youth fully represented and also participate. We have also requested to have global M&E. That is by GBDEC, that is Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation. This will ensure that after our declarations, those declarations made, those resolutions made should be followed to the letter. The last one under political. Politics, we know it is the order of the day, and we had the following under political empowerment. The word is inclusivity. Inclusivity of the youth in decision-making process. The youth should be involved. 2, change the political aspect by getting correct information, and also the logistics part of it. If I may explain, the logistics part of it is that we have the youth willing to enter into politics. You realize the women have some organizations that fight for them, do some funding for them, do some campaign for them. But we have not seen this for the youth. We also want the youth to find their own space through supported kind of organizations that will ensure that we have the youth in those houses. Number 3, that we've said we should use our numbers, that we have the numbers with ourselves, and therefore we should be united to ensure that we have proper representation when it comes to electing our leaders. The 4th, the youth participating in politics should be transparent and accountable. Transparency and accountability is the baseline to have the best leadership for our states. So we have said the youth should be corruption-free. We do not want the youth to be elected. At the end of the day, they are also involved in corruption matters. And also, we've said the youth should not be used or being rowdy, but should be agents of change. They should be game changers. Last but not least, it's have 2/3 youth representation in the houses. You realize in Kenya here, the 2/3 gender rule, if you are around 10, you must have around 4 women in that committee. So we're also saying the youth in whichever committees that will be in place or in the houses, we should ensure that also we have our numbers as per the 2/3 gender rule, which cannot be domesticated just to Kenya, but in all state parties. To that level, I appreciate the members that were in that team, and thank you so much for this time.
Moses, may I have that copy? Or maybe, may I request somebody from your group to type this down so we can actually incorporate this in the report or the statement that we are planning to come up with later, and to submit also to the HLM. So all this has to be reflected in the document. So I would like to request Moses, if you can actually type this down and give it to the organizers. Is that okay? Thank you. Let's give another round of applause to Moses. Manasa?
Okay, I noticed that some of our friends just walked in. For those of us who've been here for a little bit longer, I am requesting that we do an energizer for now. Let's all stand. This is a youth gathering. Let's do an energizer. Okay? If you're too busy trying to send an email back home, then maybe you're excused. But if you want to energize and move those muscles, I will tell a story and I would like you to act to it, okay? So the key word is Nairobi. Remember that. Nairobi. Now, what you have to do now is to look for a partner. Look for a partner, somebody next to you that you're comfortable with, because you're going to do something to my directive, okay? Okay, so this is all you do. It's very simple. Your right hand face down, palm down, and you place your left hand palm face up, okay? Like this. So whenever you hear the word Nairobi, I will try my best to smack Ray's hand and move this one so that Ray doesn't, okay? So I say, Nairobi. Ow! So, okay? So you try and smack this one and move the other hand, okay? And the word is Nairobi. Okay, hold on. Now we are starting to hear different kind of voices coming from this room that we haven't heard in the last few minutes. Anyway, that's the whole reason why we are doing this energizer. Remain standing, remain standing. I haven't told you to sit down. Remain standing. Okay, give it a try one more time. Nairobi. Okay, remember, when you try to smack this hand, okay, when I do this, Ray has to move his hand, okay, and I have to move mine, okay? Again. You getting it? Yeah. I will try my best to smack Ray's hand. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Yes. And Ray will try his best to smack this hand, which I will move. Yeah? Nairobi. It's like that. Okay. When I left Fiji, coming to Nairobi, okay, you have to do it. Whenever you hear the word Nairobi, you smack the hand and move the other one. Leaving Fiji on Friday morning, coming to Nairobi, I was told that I will travel for about more than 30 hours. And from Korean Air, I'm transferred to Kenya Airways. And man, what a beautiful city Nairobi is. And here in this beautiful city of Nairobi, I stayed at this beautiful hotel, Lyco Regency, which is at the heart of Nairobi City. Okay. Now you can sit down. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. That's the beauty about us young people getting together at any kind of space, that we are able to shake off the the tiredness, and that we be able to regain some strength. I will try my very best to keep this at 5 minutes, but also try my best to do justice to the wealth of information sharing that happened in the group that we facilitated together with our members, looking at number 3, ways forward in universalizing the development effectiveness agenda. There are many beautiful stories shared, but I will keep it brief, and amazingly, some of the pointers that we've discussed was also raised by the other group. We'll begin by stating that something that we can look at is that look at the structure of our own government and see where we can work from within to see how we can achieve our goal. And the example that was used was the structure of local governments, and to some extent some of us might call it the provincial government. Rather than looking at the national government, we can work from those little clusters of political influence in order for us to foster the message of hope that young people have in order for us to achieve whatever we want. And in this case, we're talking about CPDE, we're talking about Agenda 2030. Okay, to see how the local or the provincial government can take our cause very seriously, the voice of our young people, and make sure that they are achieved. Also, one of the pointers that was discussed was to remind us in our work that some of the previous discussions or previous papers that have been developed talked about, and you will hear over and over again, the principles of engagement, principles in terms of accountability, good governance, ways of tackling corruptions at all levels, from community to the national level. Looking at the strength and the weakness from within, for us to be able to do our own SWOT analysis, we as young people need to look at our own strength and also acknowledge that we have weakness, and we need to act on this to see how we can strengthen our strengths or give more focus on the strength that we have and try and solve the problems or the weakness that may arise around us from time to time. What is it that we can do from within? The mapping of resources. We have to do a lot of research. We have to commit ourselves to more conversations to see where the resources are. You're talking about finance, human resources, and you know the rest. Again, looking at all the issues that we try and address, we face as young people from all levels. Again, affirming some of the sharings that we've heard earlier, from the community level to the provincial or the local level, and then to the national level. But the most important thing that we would like to emphasize is that the importance of going back to the community, go right down to the local community, to the grassroots level, to see the needs that we have for our people, especially for the young people. There was also a mention of some of the papers that has been developed over the years, the Busan principles, when you're talking about CSO partners in development effectiveness, together the partnership with government. You try and monitor some of the wish, the hopes of what we would like to achieve from all of these papers, and see how has it been achieved, what has been achieved, what is still to be achieved, and how we can achieve all of this commitment that we've had from earlier years. The importance of looking at specific indicators. Specific indicators, how do we do it? What are the mechanisms? How do we achieve? How do we action? How do we achieve them? What are some of the important issue that we can deal with now, and also looking at some of the longer term hopes that we can achieve at a later date. And we use one of the example is that after this evening's or the statement from the youth that will be adopted by our leaders in the next few days, to see that we can come up with some very specific ones that we can achieve in the next 1 or 2 years, and the others can be achieved longer than that. The participation, again, we heard it over and over again, and it resounded through our conversation this afternoon. The participation of young people that starts from the club, from the churches, from the community, to the national level, to the regional level, to the global level. And we are challenging ourselves that the participations of young people doesn't have to be 50% or 70%, 80%, not even 95%. It has to be 100% when we talk about young people and their participation. More spaces, okay, we've heard that from the earlier presenter. We would like to affirm that, more spaces to be given to our young people. And we must also differentiate the spaces that are provided by the leaders and the spaces that are initiated by young people. There are two different, there's a difference between those two. We would like to affirm the work around youth entrepreneurship, and also one of the important pointer that came from our group is that we would like to see that we identify the different categories of young people across in our world today. There are some young people that are really young. There are some young people that are between the age of 30 to 45. There are some young people that are between the age of 55 to 70. We really have to define the different categories of young people. Okay, 70 years old, young at heart. Some of them might claim that they are young people as well. So thank you for the group number 3 for coming up with this, to affirm that we must look seriously into how we categorize young people in the world. We're also fortunate to have with us in our group a member of parliament from Finland who spoke seriously about young people. We have to start from somewhere. Okay, you cannot be talking about doing this and this and this, but you need to start somewhere. Start from within, start within your own family and the community that you live in, and then work your way up. Youths working with leaders, participate in a place that is neutral. The true participations, it's not about the elders, in due respect to our leaders and the elders in the room. It is not for them telling us what to do, but in partnership, what can we do together? And that we can really identify, and from that we can boldly say that that is true partnership and participation. There was a mention of education. This is just to do justice to the beautiful conversations that came from our group. The look into to make sure that the need of the government is that the education has to reflect the true need of the government. I hope that makes sense. It's that, to put it simply, as an example, I use an example that we do not train all of our young people to be accountants, and after 3 years, there won't be any job to employ these young people. Or we train all of our young people to be lawyers, and they all come and stay home for 3 years looking for a job because there is no place for them to work. Budget for youth platform, please. Increase it. Increase it. Request that you increase the budget for youth platforms, youth participation, like this one and any other, again from the community level, right up to national, to global. That's from us. I hope I've done justice to the discussions that we've had. And if you feel that I missed out anything, please come and see me after this. We will try our best to put it into the statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Manasa. I'm assuming, or I'm expecting that this will be typed into the computer and sent to the organizers. Thank you very much, Manasa. Let's give him another round of applause. And for the breakout session on enabling environment, we have Josefina Villegas from Flash.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Josefina, soy de Argentina.
Hello, I come from Argentina. Yes, I will wait for you to put your headphones on so that you can listen to me. I come in the name of FLAG, the Latin American and Caribbean Forum of Youth. We represent the youth in Latin America and the Caribbean. We are a small delegation in this forum, unfortunately. This was one of the things that we mentioned.
In order to make it more democratic for the group I'm representing now, which is the Enabling Environment Discussion Group from the breakout session. There were many points that were brought in during that discussion. We started speaking big, speaking about having youth we said the word youth and something went wrong. Having youth being represented in government and parliament, but then we decided to look more into what was happening in here, inside this room. We felt like the environment was a little bit cold. At one point we weren't really participating, so we started discussing why that could have been. And one of the points that were brought up in order to make an enabling environment for youth to participate is the access to information. Many of us are unaware of a lot of either the logistics of the event or even like how Ray was asking at one point, how many of us know about the global partnership? What do we know about it? So it's evident that the youth sector is either new inside this global partnership, but it's something we need to work on in order to make our participation in this space meaningful. I was looking at the Women's Forum, and they came already to this forum with a printed kiosk. So if we as youth want to make something out of this space, we need to organize ourselves beforehand to bring a joint agenda and make this more representative. So access to information was one of the main points we brought out as necessary for making an enabling environment. In that sense, we think it's one of the base stones for policy making and also for accountability. Youth should be taken into account when we look into the resources that are being destinated to youth. Not only when designing the policies, but also when evaluating them and deciding if they have been effective or not, if they have reached all of the persons they should have reached. There were all other base stones that were brought up, which were access to education and health systems. We think that there's not going to be any youth participation if there's no access to education and no access to public health systems. Those are basic needs that need to be covered in order for youth to participate. And we then moved on to more specific proposals. There was a lot said about the policies that youth need. So we sum up that in a legal framework. We need a specific legal framework. We were talking about if we should have like universal youth policies, but then the conversation got to a point where we realized that that would be a very high expectation and maybe not the most effective way to development. Each of our countries are very specific, but we do want to strive for youth to be represented in all countries, at government level, parliament, and not all of our countries have specific laws that guarantee that at this point. So this might be a space for us to lobby for that. And speaking about representation, we want to put forward the motion that we believe that youth should have a specific space at the global partnership, a stronger space inside the Global Partnership and the specific civil society alliance. And inside legal framework, one of the other aspects that was mentioned was the making public service more accessible and less bureaucratic, systems in general to be less bureaucratic, more accessible. Many times there are many youth policies or services youth could access, but the way to get there is very complicated. There are a lot of forms, there's a lot of technical requirements that make the available services exclusive just for some people. So we have the access to information, legal framework, and we also advocated for resources, specific resources for youth, financial resources, and also participation in the accountability and allocation of those resources. And we made a point on decent jobs, the creation of decent jobs, but also the creation of specific policies that empower youth to make their own businesses, for entrepreneurship. And in order for youth to become active in an economic system that's very competitive, we want, and we claim for specific tax systems and procedures that will contemplate the fact that youth doesn't have the experience or the background that the banks many times ask for, but we need our governments to stand up for us in order for us to be able to access financial resources. And linked to education, there was a point made on skill development, and that point brought us to the idea that we also need to receive skill development on international cooperation, because there was a point made when you ask how many of us know what effective development cooperation is, not many of us are informed. We don't have the same ideas. We even brought the debate to what development are we talking about when we talk about effective development cooperation. And youth needs to be part of that because it's our present and our future. And last, we made a point that an enabling environment is only guaranteed by more participation and diversity. We need to have these forums to include particularly marginalized and vulnerable youth. So in this area, we came up with, well, of course, the indigenous people that they brought up that point, LGTB youth groups, victims of violence. There's Latin America specifically is under a lot of human rights abuse that affect youth, and youth living under authoritarian regimes. We cannot speak about participation or development or cooperation if we don't have strong democracies, and that's not what's happening at the South level in the world. Our democracies are at least questionable. And there was another proposal on having youth forum for specific sectors that can come up with like a more enriching experience sharing. So youth forum for indigenous people, youth forum for rural workers. And there was a stress on the need of enhanced ways for experience sharing, peer-to-peer sharing. It could be virtual or presential, and also focusing on sharing good practices. Many times these forums are about all the problems we have, but there's a lot to be learned of from good practices at grassroots and local levels. I think that was all of it. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. I would expect that to be sent to me by email. Thank you. So let's give another round of applause to Joe.
Somebody else needs it?
No, you. Okay. At this point, we will be projecting on the board. Are you still okay? Okay, great. We will be projecting on the screen the declaration. In behalf of everybody, in behalf of us, in the organizers of this, we would like to apologize because you were not able to get a copy of the draft. Nonetheless, we did it quite fast in the sense that we tried to reflect some of the points that you came up with from the sessions, from the breakout sessions. We will try to project also and incorporate in the youth declaration. Let us make sure, I think everybody will be in agreement with me that this is a living document. A living document, which means it's going to be changed along the way. We will expect a lot of input from everybody here. We will be allotting some time for this discussion, and definitely we will value all your inputs. But definitely, beforehand, I assume that everybody here had enough energy to listen and take in everything that was shared to us a while ago during the breakout sessions, so we don't have to repeat ourselves anymore when we go into the intervention later. Is that okay with everybody? Great. So may I request that the declaration be projected on the screen so that they will be able to see it there. I will read through it, and then we can, I will read through the whole document. I will read it loudly, and then you can work through me. May we request, if this is a document file, is it okay to enlarge the fonts to much bigger? If it's a Word document. If it's a Word document, maybe we can enlarge the font to maybe about 16 or to 18 so that our participants, oh, there, no. No. Just go back to, is this in a Word file? If it's in a Word file, maybe just select all. Yeah, I think you can do that. If not, you can select all and then Control-Shift+. Is that correct? Okay. The room is agitated and waiting. We need our voices to be heard loudly and the letters to be bigger as well. Otherwise, they will not be able to listen. Are you able to read the document? I just want to make sure. From this end, are you able to read the document? No, they cannot. I'm the only one who can see this. Can you read the document over there? A little bigger, no? From this side, can you see any document? There's no document.
No.
Okay. Has it been enlarged? Okay, I'm sorry, it's taking some time. So I just received note that the translators will only be working until 5:30. We only have 9 minutes. I'm so sorry about that. I just have to make fast announcements. The Kenyan government has arranged transport services for delegates. This will bring you to your respective hotels. It leaves every 15 minutes. Pickup will be at the exit near Gate A, which is opposite the City Hall. So I think it's just right across. For those of you who got their badges this morning, it's just right across that. And thank you. And then we would also like to invite all of you to tomorrow, a side event at the Westlands. There will be another discussion there about the youth. There will be the torchbearers institutionalizing youth in the Agenda 2030. No, we cannot. I don't think so. About 45 minutes. Yes. Okay, but not later. Yes. Okay, I will just read it slowly and loudly. There, it has been enlarged. Great. So let's start. So the title of the statement is Make Development Work for Youth with Youth. We, the youth, attending the second high-level meeting of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, or GPEDC, are speaking up, coming together and rallying for a call. Make development work for us, with us. This statement is a reflection of our eagerness and strong intent to be involved and actively participate in effective development cooperation, a discourse and a process that do not only shape our societies comprehensively, but our future and those of the coming generations ahead. The fire inside us comes from the need to change our world, a world where profit precedes people's interests, where development benefits only a few and exacerbates inequality, where growth and waste threatens the planet and its fragile ecosystem, where education is a luxury that many of us cannot afford, where the only jobs available at home or abroad are dirty, difficult, dangerous, and demeaning, where the absence of opportunities and the presence of war force many of us away from our families and homelands, and where, when we speak up, we are silenced, threatened, or killed. This is the reality of our world today, of our youth. We need to change it together. For many years, we have always been at the receiving end of global decisions, plans, and compacts. What the world leaders decide affects us. International trade agreements and development plans shape our societies and our future. While they are worthwhile initiatives, many of them are lacking the involvement of the youth and of the people. Investing in the youth takes more than making youth passive recipients of policies and programs of adults. It should mean creating space for the development of young people, actively contributing to addressing economic, political, and social problems hindering comprehensive and genuine development. It should mean us being there with you at the start of the process, not at the end. The youth are dynamic and vibrant. We are discerning, critical, and unafraid to speak up and act. And as we speak, many of our youth the world over are engaging, building, and joining movements and working towards the realization of a world imagined, a world where all people are working and are benefiting from genuine development, prosperity, justice, and peace. This is the world we want, but we cannot do it ourselves. Let us work together. Through the International Youth Forum, we convey the following challenges: that the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation recognize and officially acknowledge the youth sector as official partners and stakeholders for development. Concretely, we want the outcome document to reflect this. That an environment be enabled through creation of space for the engagement and active contribution of youth in the development discourse in all levels, local, national, regional, and international, through the universal application of effective development cooperation. Specifically, as we further develop and engage in the Global Partnership Initiative, a youth empowerment indicator needs to be developed to monitor, measure, and report on the engagement of youth in the GPEDC. And B, that a global delivery roundtable be convened to provide financial support and other resources for youth-led socioeconomic empowerment initiatives. In this roundtable, governments, philanthropists, and other stakeholders to commit in making this work. Number 3, that all stakeholders, youth included, hold ourselves accountable to all our commitments, build partnership and cooperation, and commit ourselves to doing more for effective development. And finally, the development and development cooperation be reimagined. A, to progressively fulfill the rights of the impoverished and marginalized, with a million of youth among them, and B, to balance growth with the planet's carrying capacity for a better world that the youth will inherit. The one underneath, these are specific demands that we can incorporate It can be like an addendum to the declaration of the statement. So some of the specific demands that came out of the sessions can actually be included here. Some of you already have submitted some statements and declarations which we will also attach together with this statement. Now I open the floor for intervention. What we can do is we could go paragraph by paragraph. If you have any problems with the grammar, that can be worked out by the drafting committee, but let us try not to delve into semantics. Maybe let's just go into the content. So I'm now opening the floor for your intervention. We will be choosing one from each, and then if we have the luxury of time, we will be entertaining more. Is that okay with everybody? I'm pretty sure that many of you are raring to go. So let's start this. Let's start with the people from the right. If you have any interventions, if I don't see any hands, I'll go the front and go to the back. Okay, I will just give you maybe a few minutes or seconds to digest. Okay, we have one over there. Okay, I'll just, you first, yes.
Thank you. My name is Muro Kinchebere from Kenya.
Hold on a second. Can we ask the technical team to project the declaration? Maybe we can also go for paragraph by paragraph. Is that okay with everybody? It's much better, no? Technical team, instead of projecting our faces, maybe you could project the declaration. Thank you very much. The declaration, please. Oh, you are the declaration. No, just kidding. I'm just trying to make you. The declaration, please, on the screen. Sorry. Okay. Let's just go paragraph by paragraph. Is that okay? Huh? There. Thank you so much. You're from Kenya, right? Is that okay?
Yes.
Let's just go for the first paragraph. If you have any questions, let's just do paragraph by paragraph first. And then, okay, I'll have you first. Can you talk? Go ahead.
Thank you. I've seen the Muroki from Kenya. Just I wanted to bring an addition in it that everything, the declaration talks of inclusiveness. And I wanted to propose that we can either have a global Senate, youth Senate, or a global parliament for the youth, whereby such these policies can also, the youth participate in policy making. Thank you.
I think that suggestion is very worthwhile, but I would suggest that we may need to have a gladiator session or discussion about this, because this is something very big, and I think it has to be incorporated. If it was discussed in the breakout session, then it would have been good. But I'm not shooting down your statement. But the thing is, I don't know how the group feels about the Global Youth Senate or Parliament, given the fact that many of us are not aware of this. But we will put it on record. Is that okay with you? Yes. Okay, before I entertain any hands, maybe we go for paragraph by paragraph. If you have any comments on the first paragraph, and then if you don't have any, okay, this is something that we do in Asia, specifically in Southeast Asia. We call it, at least in Filipino, we call it isang bagsak. Isang bagsak is Tagalog or Filipino for one. Isa is one, bagsak is this, or this. So if I say isang bagsak, if we are all in agreement, we do this. Okay? So we approve each paragraph. Is that okay with everybody? Okay? Everybody's in agreement with me. So any comment on the first paragraph? Any comments, suggestions, violent reactions to the first paragraph? No, no, no. If there is no comment, let's give it isang bagsak. Great. Let's go to the second paragraph. Can we go up a little bit, please? No, no. It should be the statement. This statement is a reflection. Go further up. This is going down. Yes. Yes, that one. This is statement. Correct. Thank you. That one. Yes. Okay. Can we read through the second paragraph? If you have any comments. So I will be entertaining interventions right now. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Sandra from Kenya, the Student Consortium for Human Rights Advocacy. My suggestion is it possible to add, I will read, this statement is a reflection of our eagerness and strong intent to be involved and actively participate in effective development cooperation as equal, valued and equal partners, and then the rest follows. But just to emphasize that we are participating actively as equal partners.
So I think it should be read as a strong intent to be involved and actively participate as equal partners in effective development cooperation.
Yeah, that works too.
Great. Is that amenable with everybody? Great. Your yes is drowsy. Any more comments on the second paragraph? There being none, isang bagsak. Oh, sorry, you have to hold back. Somebody raised her hand. Yes.
Yes, I have a question, or actually I want to add something on the sentence where it said, where the only jobs available at home or abroad are dirty, difficult, dangerous,
Point of order.
demeaning.
We're still on the second paragraph.
Sorry?
We're still on the second
Oh,
paragraph.
sorry.
That's the third paragraph.
Okay.
Anything else in the second paragraph? There being none, isang bagsak. Great. Let's go through the third. So the lady on my left, right across me, you can now, oh, can you please go up. Put it, yes. Yes. That one. There. Okay. I think our lady friend has a comment already.
I can say it again. Where you said where the only jobs available at home or abroad are dirty, difficult, dangerous, and demeaning, I think this is not completely true. Of course, it is a possibility that this is the case, but not all jobs for all young people are dangerous and difficult. So I think we can change this maybe to have a high risk of having a dangerous and demanding job.
Do you have like a formulation for this? I would appreciate a formulation. Oh, hold on a second. But yes, is this in response to that one? Or a separate? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, on the same paragraph, I would like to highlight the aspect where it says, where education is a luxury that many of us cannot afford, to change that to a rights perspective. Maybe something like, where education is a human right, many of us are not granted, because it's more of a rights issue than an economic issue.
Anybody would like to respond? So these are two comments and suggestions at the same time. I would definitely appreciate a formulation for this one. But let's go first with the jobs issue, with the issue of employment. Is that amenable to everybody? The suggestion that that while this is true in most countries, I think specifically in countries in the South, this is not necessarily true for a lot for countries in the North. Pardon me if you're not comfortable with the North and South reference, but this is something that we have to use right now. So if you are okay with that, we can move forward to the education issue. Anything on the employment? If there's none, we can just go, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you so much. I have a different view. I think that that entire paragraph should be expunged because it sounds more like one coming from a civil society, and the tone is very pessimistic. When you talk about being silenced, threatened, or killed, that should come from the civil society. It does not affirm our responsibility as the future inheritors of this world. Thank you.
Okay, that's a different aspect. Thank you very much for your intervention. Could we park that? So at least if we are okay with the employment, then we can move forward to the education, because I want to know also the feel of the body with regard to the suggestions, the interventions being given. Is this something to education or a different thing?
No, it's about the jobs. Maybe in order to take into account what she was mentioning, would it be good to add something about more like decent jobs? There's a word in Spanish. How do we say precarización? No sé, no? Precarization? Is that a word? No.
It will be precariousness.
Precariousness.
Yeah.
So maybe would that describe the job situation worldwide? Like youth is usually the bottom line of a flexibilization of job situation where...
Oh, okay. So there's the issue of labor flexibilization, but at the same time, rewording this to put like there are certain jobs that are precarious, which I agree with, and I think if that is amenable to the body, and I would like to hear comments with regard to the issue of jobs. Any intervention outside jobs, can we park it for a while? Because I just want us to be all in agreement with regard to this suggestion of change to the amendment to the issue of jobs or employment. There. Yes, Mr. Sir?
Yeah, my area where I would like to be edited is on the job section and the last 3 words. And I would like them to be read as where the only jobs available for youths globally are, and in that order. And then the last segment where we read when we speak up, I think there we should end the statement by saying, when we speak up, we are always excommunicated. That is, we are always left out of any further engagement or listening or attention.
Okay, any comments on the last sentence? I will have to request fervently that we have this discussion later. We have to finalize first the comments on the employment. Is that okay? Because if this is nothing, I'm sorry, but I have to put everybody in order here. I just want us to be as fast as possible here. And if you have any comments with regard to employment, please do so right now. We are having this conversation on how we're going to better the language on the issue of employment. As facilitator, I'm in agreement with the suggestion, but I also want to hear the body with regard to this suggestion. Yes.
Other ways of job that is not employment, perhaps including more social economy or more horizontal ways of work. In Latin America, and I know that in Asia and also in Europe is a new way of work. Like it managed to build another kind of economy, and I think that is important that in this meeting we can include that for us, for young people, in what is important to pay a special attention to promote, to try to promote more kind of these kinds of shops that are more horizontal, and the people is more important than the capital.
Thank you. I think that can be reflected in the succeeding paragraphs. The current paragraph right now presents the current situation. If there is a problem with language, I think we can make certain changes to that. But if we have any more issues with the issue of employment, then I think we will have to, this would have to be the last intervention I will be receiving.
I just want to share the sentiments from the first proposer of this edit, and I don't know if we've agreed to do this, but where we're saying where the only jobs available is a point of contention, because that doesn't really reflect both the South and the North realities. So perhaps the edit would be to just remove the only and say where jobs available or where most jobs available are. So that point, the only needs to be removed, I think.
Okay. I think in replacement of, I would suggest, just for the benefit of time, is to change the 4 Ds, because this is something very popular in the South. But I guess we can include the word precarious. There are certain jobs that are, most jobs are precarious. Or I think I would also suggest our friends to actually make a formulation out of this and then can submit to the drafting committee. Yeah.
Can we also make a point on a little bit about the where growth, or is that you want to do it?
Let's park that. We're just talking about the employment right now.
Okay.
Is that, yes? Is this unemployment? Otherwise, this is not unemployment.
Okay, mine is about the issue of employment, how I wish we could get statistics from the UN so that we can be precise that a certain percentage of young people are unemployed.
Okay.
And the last one about silence, threatened, and kills. We are living in a liberal democratic society. Not all of us are living in totalitarian and autocratic society. So that statement is not representative of the globe. Maybe we can do some amendments.
Okay. As a suggestion, can we go back to the statement, please? Thank you. With regard to the employment, if everybody is in agreement with that one, we can move to the education. Yes. I'm sorry, just a point of order. This is the last intervention. I will not entertain any more intervention on employment.
Okay, so I think we should recognize the situation of gender-based inequalities. For example, the jobs that are not recognized or paid as such. This is the case of young women who make care laborers or caring for elder people or managing the homes. So I think we should recognize domestic laborers as unpaid jobs.
Okay. Okay. Now I will definitely there will be change of formulation with regard to employment. Now I have a suggestion with regard to 2 things just to speed up the process. One is to incorporate the gender situation here, that women all over the world have, they actually experience certain discrimination. I think we need to put the women aspect also within this statement, if that is okay with everybody. And then I think we will just have to make certain changes to where when we speak up. I think we can actually put here issues of, I think this is these are strong words, so I think we'll just have to formulate them to incorporate realities in other countries without having to, and then accommodating also the suggestions from the others. Is that okay with everybody? Okay? For those of you, for the benefit of time as well, I will also ask everybody before you leave the place is to write down your email addresses on a piece of paper in big bold letters so that we will be able to put them down. And then once this declaration goes to the revision, we will send it to everybody and we will ask everybody's inputs on this one. Is that okay with everybody? Great. So just put on record, we're including the women aspect in this sentence. We will also make changes to the last phrase. With regard to education, I agree that there has to be education is a right. So we go look at the rights-based approach to the issue of education. Anything on education? Yes.
If I have an alternative phrasing, do I submit it to you in writing or say it out loud?
You can say it out loud now.
Okay, so the phrasing is instead of where education is a luxury that many of us cannot afford, I would like it to state where education is a human right, many young people are still denied.
Okay. Is that amenable to everybody? Okay. Not yet. We haven't finished the paragraph. Anything else with regard to the paragraph? Going once, twice? Yes, Joe.
I have a feeling that I totally understand the intention where it was written from, and I think that it's very important that we take into account that we need to expose the reality of the youth that's most vulnerable. But for me, when we start the paragraph, and I don't have a concrete suggestion right now on how to rephrase it, but when we start the paragraph by saying that the fire inside of us comes from the need to change our world, I would focus it more on how our rights are being vulnerable. So I agree, I totally agree on what comes afterwards, but maybe the reason why we want to be part of international and effective cooperation is because our rights are being violated and are not being taken into account.
Okay, I think I have a formulation for that.
I'm going to think and...
Yes.
For 2 seconds.
Okay. I think with regard to suggestions that, dear friend, lady friend there, if you can, you gave that to me, I would also ask you to write it down and then give it to me later. Give it to us. Yes, you. And then with regard to Joe's suggestion, we will make certain changes to that. Is that okay? Okay. Is there any more suggestion or amendments to? Yes.
My suggestion will be where in the sentence where we have where the absence of opportunities and the presence of war, I think we should add there social injustices, not only war.
Okay. Is that amenable to everybody? Yes? Yes. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Before you, Joe, wait, I will be entertaining other faces. I will also look down here. The guy in front of me here, down here, has made suggestions to the last phrase. We will make amendments to that. Any suggestions, interventions from here? Yes, lady.
I think for me, I would cheer up the youth that we should not have fear. Yes? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
We as youths, we should stop having fear. I think fear is something which has killed most of us. Thank you.
That is a very strong statement. We will try to incorporate that in this paragraph. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we will try our best. I'm not a Superman, but I have background in writing, as everybody is too. Any more comments on this paragraph? You're the my dear lady, I have to give chance to others. Is that okay? Yes.
Yeah, my problem is with the D's. The jobs are dirty, difficult, dangerous, and demeaning. I think they reflect that the youths who converged here are somehow afraid of the mentally challenging jobs or tasks.
I'm sorry to stop you, but we have already agreed a while ago that we will make certain changes to this, that it will not anymore incorporate the 4Ds. There will be made changes to this to incorporate the suggestions and comments from the rest. You also made comments about this a while ago, and we will incorporate that. Any more comments on the paragraph? Oh, sorry. I will only entertain one last. I will entertain you. Yes, I'm sorry. I will be entertaining you again in the next paragraph.
Hello guys. Yeah, for me, I'm of contrary opinion within the tabled document. Like when we speak, when we talk of where and when we speak, this we are silenced or threatened or killed. I think we are giving up our illusions to many more communities. I think we are expressing ourselves. Not necessarily that we are meaning we are killed, but we may be killed mentally or in other ways. So for me, I don't see any wrong-do with that statement.
Okay, I will take your suggestion in consideration. One last intervention on this. I will call on you. This will be the last intervention.
Yes, I want to look at where growth and then that it threatens our planet. And I think that growth doesn't necessarily threaten our planet, but only unsustainable economic growth threatens our planet.
Okay. Economic growth.
And no, unsustainable economic growth.
Unsustainable economic growth, okay. Is that amenable to, yeah.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, shortly.
On the end, you say we are that when we speak up, we are automatically silenced. But I think we may be silenced because not all of us are silenced when we speak up.
Yes, we have made discussions a while ago that we will make changes to this last phrase. Okay. With regard, okay, I will not anymore entertain any more intervention. Okay, but this is a paragraph that everybody has to own. Then I have to entertain everybody. But I wish there has to be, this isn't content, huh?
Thank you. The suggestion is at the place where we're talking about the presence of war face many of us. When you say many of us, you really haven't defined who many of us are. So it would be nice to include statistics to show the magnitude of the many of us, because I'm not seeing a lot of statistics in the paragraph. And yet, it should be clear for us to be able to see. When you say many of us, who do you mean? Who are we representing? So just have the numbers to show the magnitude of the issue.
I have a suggestion for that one. If you like, we can actually put a footnote on this one.
Yes.
Because that is an issue of forced labor migration. We have people who are leaving their countries because they have no jobs at home or there are no livelihood opportunities. But you also have the issue of asylum seekers and refugees. So that's a big number of statistics. We can incorporate that, but I think that will have to be as like an addendum or as an added note, not in the statement. Is that okay with you? My problem is with the addition of statistics, is that we may have to go through statistics with everything else. That is the danger of having that incorporated in the statement. Anything else? The guy? Yes.
Merci de m'accorder la parole. D'abord, je voulais...
Thank you for giving me the floor. First of all, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that since the beginning, when I started talking about the declaration, according to me, the chapter is very long and it's not bringing out the idea in a smart way. I would like to propose that when you revise the declaration, you should reduce the paragraphs so that we need to have a short paragraph that gives a smart idea that is specific, measurable, attainable, etc. Because we cannot address authorities like wolves like this. We look like as if, I want to say that the text is very long. It's very long, I'm sorry.
I think the drafting committee will consider your suggestion. However, this is a youth statement. This is not a government statement. And this basically reflects the sentiments of the young people. Now, I don't know how people will respond to shortening this sentence, because basically this is just a one-page document. The only reason that it got longer is because of the challenges and the demands. Okay? We have to go through the document. It's hard. Let's just finish this. One more. I think we will be finished soon. Okay. My dear friends, due to time constraints, as much as I want to engage everybody here for us to have a discussion on the statement, we don't have the luxury of time. So I would suggest anyone here and everybody, I would encourage everybody here to meet, to maybe compose a team, or we can have a short discussion after this youth forum. We can go out and have a discussion on the paper. And because sadly we don't have a luxury of time, and I think we also, our translators would also need to rest. No, I would, if we have French-speaking, Spanish-speaking participants joining this team or this short session after the youth forum, I would also request our bilingual friends to join us to help us in the translation. Is that amenable to the body? Because I don't want you feeling shortchanged, because the declaration will not be finalized in this youth forum, but I want us to continue the conversation afterwards, just for the benefit of time. Because we have time constraints, as much as I want us to have longer conversation, you know, it's moot and academic to... Yes, so is that okay with everybody? May I see hands of those who would like, who are interested in joining an after session, or we can actually, I just want to ask, is anybody here joining the CSO forum tomorrow? CSO forum tomorrow at Westlands? May I see their hands, please? Okay. Okay. What about the rest? I just want to see hands of those who are interested in engaging in comments with regard to the youth declaration. Can I see your hands, please? Okay, great. Let's have a short meet outside later. Is that okay with the organizers? So that we can have this meaningful conversation. I don't want us feeling shortchanged. I want us to continue this very vibrant conversation, because this declaration you should own. We should own this declaration, because this is the voice of the youth. Your input is very important here. I don't want you feeling that when we leave GPEDC or the HLM2, that we feel that this youth statement is something that we cannot associate ourselves with. You went to this conference, you went to this youth forum, let's own up. If you are up to the challenge, then let's do it. Is that okay with everybody? Is that okay? If it is okay, isang bagsak? Thank you very much. Let's give ourselves a round of applause.
Ray?
And sorry, and lastly, please don't forget to put your emails on a piece of paper which you will be giving to us. Thank you.
Ray, I have a question here. Now, just to make it clear for everyone, are we taking this declaration to the high-level meeting?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So this youth statement will be given to the high-level meeting. Will be presented there. Definitely, your input is very, very important.
Thank you, everyone. I think to answer that, we have two, because high-level meeting, not everybody may access, but we have two youth delegates, the speakers, who will take this to the high-level meeting, and we'll have a side event on FAST, a gladiator session, to tease out some of the things that are coming out. So we also invited for the side event on FAST. If you check the website and the program, it's at 10.
10 on 1st, 10 a.m. So thank you very much. Please just turn to your neighbor and say hello, please, and smile.
Hello.
Yes, it's been a long day. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Asante sana.
Okay. Thank you so much. So without wasting time,
Karibu.
I'd like with much honor and privilege to invite our Principal Secretary, the State Department of Public Service and Youth Affairs, Madam Lilian Mbogo Omolo, to make a closing remark. Karibu.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Evening.
Everybody had a good time in Nairobi so far?
Yeah.
For our guests who are visiting Nairobi, please receive our very hearty welcome. And we hope that you get to enjoy the warmth of the people of Kenya, the people of Nairobi, our beautiful weather for those particularly who are coming from the colder regions of Europe, Caribbean. Please enjoy the warmth and the sunshine. The cool, fresh air of Nairobi is a welcome relief, I'm sure, for most of you. Without much ado, I want to thank all of you for participating in today's debate on creating an enabling environment for meaningful youth involvement in the development effectiveness agenda, from presence to influence. And I'm pleased to note that the insights and the contributions that you've shared today have been extremely informative and driven by genuine concern of accelerating the youth agenda for all. It is my hope that the outcome from today's meeting will accelerate action for realization of sustainable development goals. As many speakers have already pointed out today, youth policy development, programming, and interventions at global and national levels are efforts that need the involvement of key stakeholders, being the governments, religious organizations, the civil society, development partners, and most importantly, the youth themselves. To deliver on our promises of sustainable development, we must take urgent action in line with the principles of the Busan Partnership for Effective Development Cooperations. These are the principles of country ownership, focus on results, inclusive partnerships, transparency, and accountability. As key drivers of change, the world's young people must be bolstered by robust policies and solutions to the challenges that they face. Today's young people are the generation that could end poverty and the last that could act to avoid the worst effects of climate change. The discussions of today serve as an important contribution towards filling the gap caused by the missing youth factor in the GPDC monitoring framework. It is our hope that as we seek to correct this situation, we will develop new policies and strengthen the existing ones for effective youth empowerment. As stakeholders in the GPDC, we seek to make good on economic and social opportunities for our young people, and this is a fundamental prerequisite for them leading a dignified and productive life. Young people today, time and time again, we have had people around the world stress the importance of youth empowerment. In Kenya, for the longest time, the youth were told that they were the leaders of tomorrow, but tomorrow never seemed to come. We have sought to change that as a government. The government of Kenya has put in place deliberate initiatives and programs towards youth empowerment, and this includes the setting up of affirmative funds to support youth enterprises, the establishment of an access to government procurement opportunities AGPO program, which sets aside 30% of all government procurement, the entire government expenditure in purchase of goods and services, to be only accessed by young people of the nation, to be accessed by women and persons living with disabilities. The operationalization of the National Youth Council in the country also serves as the voice of young people in Kenya. As I conclude, allow me to emphasize that as a global community, Our collective efforts must demonstrate that we have heard the calls by our young people to take concrete steps to empower them. To do so, the youth development agenda must be embedded at the heart of the GPEDC as the foundation for strong commitment towards this vital human resource. I believe the discussions of today have positively contributed towards this very important endeavor. I thank you all for your kind attention and participation, and it is now my singular honor to declare the Preparatory Youth Forum officially closed. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam CS. Please, let's give a round of clap, please, again. My role now is to give a vote of thanks. On behalf of the Youth Planning Secretariat, I would like to thank everyone who participated and made this a successful event, especially the Government of Kenya, the host, the Joint Steering Committee of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, through the UNDP, and other players. I would also like to thank the team from the CPED, all the speakers, and in particular our CS and our PS, and all the team that worked tirelessly under the State Department of Youth Affairs. And I would also like to thank each and everyone who came for this event and who has been persevering, sitting down, giving inputs, despite all the hassles that we've gone through. And we would like to apologize for the challenges that we had in the morning. So please kindly just turn to your neighbor and say thank you for this. Okay. Thank you so much. Now we have some announcements. One, because we want to get input of everyone, kindly write your email address in a legible format, in a piece of paper, and as you leave, please drop it on that desk. There's a desk down there. Two, this for the international delegates staying at Westlands or Upto. You are required to proceed to the help desk just outside instead of going directly to your bus or shuttle. So there's a team that will escort you to where you're supposed to be to get the bus. Secondly, we have the delegates under the Kenyan government who are staying in Kasarani. Please, you are required, please note that your buses are parked along the Parliament Road, next to the museum, not where you were dropped in the morning. So that is for the people staying in Kasarani. Then the speakers, kindly, for those who are still here, we like to have a joint photo with our PS just down here immediately. So that is our yes, and then everyone, after the speakers, everyone will join the PS for a group photo. So kindly, we are done, and let's do this in 2 minutes or so. Yes, thank you so much.